Saint Margaret of Cortona, patron of single mothers, reformed prostitutes, orphan children, and the homeless. Margaret of Cortona was born in Laviano in Tuscany in 1247. Her father was a small farmer, and her mother passed away when she was just 7 years old. Unfortunately, Margaret faced rejection from her stepmother, which led her to elope with a youth from Montepulciano at the tender age of 12. She bore him a son out of wedlock, and she lived openly with him as his mistress for 9 years. However, her life took a drastic turn when she found her lover murdered in the forest. This encounter deeply shook her and prompted her to embrace a life of penance. In an attempt to seek redemption, Margaret selflessly gave away all her possessions to her deceased lover's family and returned as a penitent with her son to her father's house. Eager to atone for her sins, she embarked on a path of public penance, wearing a rope of penance around her waist in the church and publicly confessing the wickedness of her past life before the entire congregation. Unfortunately, her efforts to reconcile were met with disdain by her father, who hoped she would just lie quiet and let the scandal die. Her family refused to accept her and her son. Faced with desperation, Margaret sought refuge with the friars minor in Cortona, who provided her with asylum. Yet, Margaret still struggled with temptations of the flesh, resorting to exhibiting her penitence in extreme ways, such as attending Mass at Montepulciano with a cord around her neck. She also attempted to mutilate her face, but was dissuaded by Friar Junta. The friars counseled her against such excessive measures and instead advised her to find solace by assisting others. Heeding their guidance, Margaret devoted herself to a life of prayer and penance, dedicating her efforts to caring for the sick and poor without seeking any form of compensation, relying solely on alms. Eventually, she managed to overcome her temptations. After 3 years of her conversion, she joined the Third Order of St. Francis, while her son later followed suit by joining the Franciscans. In 1286, she was granted a charter allowing her to devote herself permanently to serving the sick poor. Additionally, Margaret established a congregation of tertiary sisters known as the Poverelle, or the Poor Ones. She also founded a hospital at Cortona and initiated the Confraternity of Our Lady of Mercy, whose members pledged their support for the hospital and assistance to the needy wherever they may be found. Nevertheless, she faced continued trials as some individuals doubted her sincerity due to her previous sinful life, casting doubts on her relationship with the friars. Despite these challenges, she exhibited patience and endured, persistently praying and humbly accepting God's will. Margaret remained steadfast in her mission to denounce vice and succeeded in leading many individuals back to the sacraments through her preaching. The humble and compassionate Margaret, akin to Saint Francis, displayed exceptional devotion to the Eucharist and the Passion of Jesus Christ. Having been divinely forewarned of the exact day and hour of her death, Margaret passed away on February 22, 1297, after dedicating 29 years to acts of penance. She was later canonized in 1728.